I told you that two of the most common spices sitting in your kitchen cabinet right now, spices you've probably had for years, can, when combined in a specific way, trigger changes inside your body that your doctor has never warned you about. And I'm not talking about small changes. I'm talking about changes to your liver enzyme levels, changes to your blood pressure, changes to your hormonal balance, and in some cases, especially if you're over 40, changes that can become very difficult to reverse once they've started. Stay with me until the end of this video because what I'm about to share with you is not something you'll find on the back of a spice jar. It's not on WebMD, and most doctors won't bring it up in a 10-minute office visit. I'm Dr. Joseph J. Allen, internal medicine physician with over 19 years of clinical experience. And I've seen firsthand what happens when people start combining cloves and cinnamon without understanding what these spices actually do inside the human body. Here's the good news. I'm not selling anything. There's nothing to buy. Everything I'm going to tell you today is something you can act on immediately with what you already have at home. But first, I need to make sure you understand exactly what's at stake. Let's talk about what's happening in America right now. According to the CDC, more than 129 million Americans, that's nearly 1 in 2 adults, are living with some form of metabolic dysfunction. Diabetes, prediabetes, fatty liver disease, high blood pressure, and chronic inflammation. These aren't rare conditions anymore. They are the American norm. And in the last 5 years, something interesting has happened. Millions of Americans have turned to natural remedies. Google searches for cloves health benefits have increased by 340% since 2019. Cinnamon supplements now generate over $400 million in annual sales in the US alone. People are desperate for solutions that don't come in a pill bottle. And I understand that. I respect that. Because many of those natural options, including cloves and cinnamon, genuinely have extraordinary healing properties that are backed by peer-reviewed research. But here's what nobody is telling you. Both cloves and cinnamon are not passive spices. They are biologically active compounds that interact directly with your liver, your hormones, your blood sugar regulation system, and your central nervous system. And when you combine them, especially in the amounts that are being promoted on social media right now, the interaction can go one of two ways. Either it becomes one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory, metabolic boosting combinations your body has ever experienced, or it overwhelms your system in ways that accumulate silently until the damage is done. The difference? It comes down to 3 things: the type of each spice, the amount you use, and who you are biologically. Let me break all of this down for you clearly and completely. First, let's talk about what cloves actually do inside your body, because most people think of cloves as just a holiday spice, something you put in apple cider or stick into a ham. But cloves, Syzygium aromaticum, contain one of the most potent naturally occurring compounds on Earth, eugenol. Eugenol makes up between 72% and 90% of clove essential oil, and eugenol is remarkable. Studies published in the Journal of Immunology Research have showed it has powerful anti-inflammatory properties, comparable in some cases to over-the-counter NSAIDs like ibuprofen. It's antifungal, antibacterial, and has shown anti-tumor activity in early-stage lab research. So far, incredible, right? But here's the point almost no one talks about. Eugenol is also a potent hepatotoxin at high doses. Your liver, the organ responsible for filtering everything that enters your bloodstream, processes eugenol using a specific enzyme pathway. In normal culinary amounts, this is completely safe. Your liver handles it with ease. But when you start consuming concentrated clove supplements, clove powder in large amounts, or clove-cinnamon mixtures promoted online as healing protocols, some of which recommend a full teaspoon or more daily, you begin pushing your liver into overdrive. The FDA has documented cases of acute liver injury associated with clove oil consumption. Pediatric cases have been particularly severe, and in adults with pre-existing liver conditions, even mild fatty liver, the accumulation of eugenol metabolites can trigger measurable enzyme elevation within weeks. Now add cinnamon to the picture. Cinnamon, and this is where it gets critically important, is not one thing. There are 2 primary types of cinnamon sold in the United States. Ceylon cinnamon, Cinnamomum verum, sometimes called true cinnamon. This is the lighter, more delicate variety grown primarily in Sri Lanka. And cassia cinnamon, Cinnamomum cassia, which is the dark, reddish-brown variety that accounts for roughly 90% of all cinnamon sold in American grocery stores, supplement bottles, and spice aisles. Here is the crucial difference. Cassia cinnamon contains very high levels of a compound called coumarin. Coumarin is a naturally occurring blood thinner. It's the chemical precursor to warfarin, the prescription anticoagulant used to prevent blood clots. And the European Food Safety Authority has established a tolerable daily intake of coumarin at just 0.1 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. 1 teaspoon of cassia cinnamon contains approximately 5 to 12 milligrams of coumarin. For a 150-pound adult, the safe daily limit is around 6.8 milligrams. 1 teaspoon of cassia cinnamon, just one, can push many adults to or beyond their safe daily coumarin threshold. Now imagine you're mixing that cinnamon with cloves every day in a tea, in a smoothie, or in a shot you found on a wellness account that promises it will detox your liver and boost your metabolism. You have eugenol, a hepatotoxin in excess, stressing your liver enzyme pathways. And you have coumarin, a natural blood thinner, thinning your blood simultaneously. And if you're taking any of the following, aspirin, ibuprofen, blood pressure medication, statins, birth control pills, or any anticoagulant, that interaction doesn't just add, it multiplies. Stay with me because I need to tell you about 2 patients whose stories changed the way I counsel every single person who walks into my office asking about natural remedies. Let me tell you about Sandra. Sandra is 54 years old and lives in Phoenix, Arizona. She came to me in early 2022 after seeing a viral video, over 8 million views, recommending a daily clove cinnamon tea made with 1 teaspoon of ground cloves and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon steeped in hot water, taken every morning on an empty stomach. The video promised it would lower blood sugar, reduce inflammation, and clean the liver naturally. Sandra didn't have diabetes. She had slightly elevated cholesterol and some joint pain in her knees, both completely manageable, but she wanted to be proactive. She was health conscious. She bought high-quality organic spices. She was disciplined about it for 4 months. When she came to see me, she was experiencing unexplained fatigue, mild nausea in the mornings, and what she described as brain fog that had developed gradually over the previous 6 weeks. I ran a comprehensive metabolic panel. Her ALT, alanine aminotransferase, a key liver enzyme, was at 72 units per liter. The normal upper limit for women is 35. Her AST was elevated as well, and her prothrombin time, a measure of how quickly her blood clots, was slightly prolonged. Nothing catastrophic, but real, measurable damage to liver function from spices. When we identified the clove cinnamon tea as the likely culprit and she stopped, it took 8 months for her liver enzymes to return to baseline. 8 months. That is not reversible in a week. That is not something you just sleep off. Now let me tell you about James. James is 67 years old, a retired firefighter from Nashville, Tennessee. He came to me because his cardiologist had put him on a low-dose aspirin regimen, 81 milligrams daily, for cardiovascular protection following a mild cardiac event. His daughter had started making him a superfood morning drink she found online. Warm water, half a teaspoon of cloves, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, a squeeze of lemon, a touch of honey, every morning. 3 months in, James came to me with bruising on his forearms that wasn't explained by any injury. He was also noticing that small cuts took longer to stop bleeding. He felt dizzy when standing up quickly. His INR, International Normalized Ratio, which measures clotting speed, had crept from 1.1 to 1.9. For a patient on low-dose aspirin, that's a significant and dangerous change. The coumarin in the cassia cinnamon, combined with daily aspirin, had created a compounding blood-thinning effect that his cardiologist had never anticipated, because no one had told him James was drinking this mixture every morning. When we identified the cause and discontinued the drink, James's INR normalized over about 6 weeks, but the concern, and what kept me up at night, was what could have happened if he had sustained a fall or a minor head injury during those 3 months. Uncontrolled internal bleeding from cinnamon tea. Back to our topic, because now that you understand the risk, I want to give you the complete picture, because these spices, used correctly, are genuinely remarkable. And I don't want you walking away from this video thinking you need to throw them in the trash. Now, I'm going to tell you the right way, the safe, evidence-backed approach to get every benefit the cloves and cinnamon genuinely offer without putting your liver, your blood, or your hormonal system at risk. This is what I call the protection triad golden rule. Number 1. Type matters more than amount. If you want to use cinnamon regularly for blood sugar support, anti-inflammatory benefits, and the very real metabolic advantages it offers, you must use Ceylon cinnamon, not cassia. Ceylon cinnamon has coumarin levels approximately 250 times lower than cassia cinnamon. It is safe for daily use at culinary amounts. It has all the beneficial cinnamaldehyde, the compound responsible for blood sugar regulation, without the coumarin risk. When you're at the grocery store or shopping online, look for the label that says Ceylon cinnamon, Cinnamomum verum, or true cinnamon. The sticks are thinner, lighter in color, and more delicate. If it doesn't specify Ceylon on the label, assume it's cassia. Golden rule number 2. Less is more, and intermittent is better than daily. For cloves, a culinary pinch, we're talking 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon in cooking, is where the benefits live. The research showing anti-inflammatory and blood sugar benefits from cloves uses amounts equivalent to what you'd put in a recipe, not a teaspoon, not a tablespoon. If you're making a clove cinnamon tea, use 2 to 3 whole cloves steeped in hot water, not ground clove powder. Whole cloves release eugenol far more slowly and at much lower concentrations than ground powder. And don't drink it on an empty stomach. Always pair it with food. And don't make it a daily ritual 7 days a week. Use it 4 to 5 days a week maximum and take a full week off every month. Your liver needs rest from processing even beneficial compounds in concentrated form. Golden rule number 3. Know your contraindications. This is non-negotiable. If you are on any of the following, you should consult your doctor before adding any regular clove or cinnamon supplementation to your routine. Warfarin, Coumadin, Xarelto, Eliquis, or any anticoagulant. The interaction with coumarin and eugenol is real and measurable. Aspirin, even low-dose 81 milligrams taken daily. James's story is not unique. Metformin or any diabetes medication. Cinnamon genuinely lowers blood sugar. Combined with medication, it can cause hypoglycemia. That is a medical emergency. Any medication metabolized by the liver's CYP450 enzyme system, which includes many statins, many antidepressants, many blood pressure medications, and many hormone therapies. Eugenol inhibits certain CYP450 pathways, which means it can raise the blood levels of these medications unpredictably. Pregnancy. Both cloves and high-dose cinnamon have been shown to stimulate uterine contractions in animal studies. This is not a risk to ignore. Now let's talk about the benefits because they are real, they are documented, and they deserve your attention. When used correctly, the combination of cloves and Ceylon cinnamon offers something genuinely extraordinary. A 2019 meta-analysis published in the Annals of Family Medicine analyzed 18 randomized controlled trials on cinnamon and blood glucose. The conclusion? Cinnamon supplementation was associated with a statistically significant reduction in fasting blood glucose, with the most benefit seen in people with type 2 diabetes or metabolic syndrome. A 2021 study in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology demonstrated that eugenol, the active compound in cloves, significantly reduced inflammatory markers, including CRP and IL-6 in human subjects. These are the same markers associated with cardiovascular disease risk and chronic pain. A study out of the University of Michigan found that the combination of eugenol and cinnamaldehyde, the active compound in cinnamon, showed synergistic antifungal activity against Candida biofilms that was significantly stronger than either compound alone. Used correctly, the right type, the right amount, the right timing, with the right awareness of your own medications, this combination can support blood sugar regulation, reduce systemic inflammation, improve insulin sensitivity, and provide antimicrobial protection that pharmaceutical companies cannot bottle. The problem is never the spice. The problem is always the dose and the context. Before I close, I want to give you the 3 enemies to watch for, the things that take a healing practice and turn it into a harmful one. Enemy number 1, concentrated supplements versus whole spices. Clove extract supplements, cinnamon extract capsules, and essential oil preparations are not the same as culinary spices. They concentrate the active compounds anywhere from 10 to 100 times beyond what you'd consume in food. The research showing benefits uses culinary doses. The research showing liver damage and coumarin toxicity involves concentrations closer to supplements. Read the label. Be suspicious of any supplement promising megadoses of either spice. Enemy number 2. Social media wellness protocols with no medical oversight. The video Sandra watched had 8 million views. It had no credentials attached to it. It had no dosage justification. It was shared enthusiastically by people who felt better for a while and attributed every improvement to the drink without understanding what was happening biochemically in the background. Not everything that makes you feel good in the short term is making you healthier in the long term. Enemy number 3. Assuming natural means harmless. Arsenic is natural. So is mercury. So is hemlock. The word natural describes an origin, not a risk profile. Cloves and cinnamon are powerful biological compounds that deserve to be treated with the same respect you'd give to any medication, because in many ways, that's exactly what they are. Here's what I want you to do right now. Go check your spice cabinet. Look at your cinnamon. Does it say Ceylon? Does it say Cinnamomum verum? If it doesn't, just know what you have. And if you've been using ground cinnamon daily in large amounts, let your doctor know at your next visit. Ask for a comprehensive metabolic panel if you've been doing this for more than a month. If you have whole cloves, wonderful. Use them in cooking. Make a tea with 2 or 3 whole cloves steeped, not daily. And if you're on any medication, have a 5-minute conversation with your pharmacist before you start any regular herbal supplementation. Pharmacists are incredibly underused resources when it comes to interaction checking. Most will do it for free in under 2 minutes. Your health is not an experiment. It is the most valuable asset you have. Now, I have one request. Think about someone in your life right now who is drinking one of these clove cinnamon wellness drinks they found online. A parent, a sister, a coworker who's been talking about their new morning detox ritual. Someone who trusts wellness content on social media more than they trust their own doctor. And I understand why, because too often doctors don't give people the time they deserve. Share this video with that person today. Not because I want the views, but because the information in this video could prevent real harm to someone you love. If this helped you, like this video and subscribe to this channel. Every week I share exactly this kind of content. Evidence-based, honest, practical information that the healthcare system doesn't have time to give you in a clinic visit. And leave a comment below. Tell me, are you currently using cloves or cinnamon as part of a health routine? Which type of cinnamon do you have at home? I read every single comment and I answer as many as I can. In the next video, we're going to talk about another combination that millions of Americans make every morning without realizing the impact. And this one involves something in almost every refrigerator in the country. You don't want to miss it. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one.